where I grew up. I know that's hard.
That's hard to believe.
How you gonna get used to a small town? I said it's a lot bigger than where I'm from. But it's ideal for me. I love the small town feel, and it's got enough here. And as far as the school goes, I mean, everything's top notch, with everything run with class. The academics are so great at Miller, and the staff and the effort they put in. I mean, it's obvious, and it's almost got a kind of a private school feel to it, with the way that the kids are well behaved, and you can tell that some solid homes and solid families around here, and it just encourages me even more that I'm gonna have the opportunity to raise my family around here. So I'm excited. I love everything I see. Facilities top notch. I know I'm stepping into a good situation with all the upgrades here in the past year. So it's a great time to be here.
Talk a little bit, and we were talking about this before we went to the break, coming in on the heels of a coach the caliber of Jamie Riggs. He's a Hall of Famer here in the state of Alabama. His success speaks for itself here at the school. Talk a little bit about that, coming in on the heels of that, some of the things you deal with just inside your head, so to speak.
Well, as far as, taking the job, I don't look at it as try to be intimidated from the fact. To me, it's almost, you're coming in somewhere that's been run well. It's not like you're trying to restart a program or having to go in and just restructure kids. And I mean, it's been such a well-oiled machine here. And, it's more to me, it's coming in and bringing my style and a lot of similarities of what I believe as a coach and my philosophies, are similar to what Coach Riggs has established here. And, I can't worry about, what's been done as far as the pressure. I don't look on it as pressure. I just, again, to me, it's almost more of a positive. And, they always say you never want to follow a legend, but,
you are.
Yeah. I think I've said it to somebody before that, I'm sure Coach Saban doesn't, he doesn't worry about Coach Saban. I'll say it again.
Load it up.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
he ain't worried about what Bear Bryant did. So he's being himself. So not that I'm comparing myself to Nick Saban, but it's Jamie Riggs is, he's definitely a Hall of Famer in what he's done here, and I've got a great staff too that he's left over, guys that has had head coaching experience, and they know some of the things that that I go through as far as a head coach. So it's good to be able to have people like that around that you can lean on, and know a lot of football. So good situation I'm stepping into.
I tell you, Ken and I were talking, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and you get out in Bruton, whether it's one of the coffee shops or lunch table discussions, and there was, of course, that came up, how's the guy going to come in on the heels of Coach Riggs, and how do you handle that? How do you work through it? How do you manage those expectations, things of that nature? And you came in there, and your success there,
he did.
You're filling some big shoes. The guy that came in at Trenton High School, the way you rebuilt the program, we've done our homework up there also. He's got some big shoes. Who'd they hire?
Bill Wiles, who is I'm sure he's going to do great. I mean, he was actually there in the late 90s, did a run, and a lot of my assistant ball through him during that time. So should be a good transition for them too. Group coming back, they should. I think he'll do fine.
Much at this point. There's a couple of coaching vacancies on the varsity staff. Coach Michael Riggs and Coach Juan Johnson, of course, moving on to the big city of Birmingham or thereabouts, and are going to continue their careers there, which created some openings. Where are we in the process in terms of getting those filled? I don't want you to, like I say any more than you can say, but how's that going?
It's pretty much set. It's just kind of just waiting on the process to finish. Okay. But I've got two of the guys with me here tonight. So Coach Walker is going to be our DB coach. So he's moving on up, and excited to have him on the varsity staff, and having college experience. So I think he's going to bring a lot to the table, just like Coach Johnson did. Mm-hmm. Guys are going to be staff. So it's trying to get programs kind of going in the right direction. Using hires, there'll be a little at the middle school. Everything worked out. out and from our middle school program moving on up to our high school, that we're getting a good transition there. So the administration's worked well with me too, trying to see my vision and things, and so I'm excited what we've kind of way we've been moving the 6 weeks I've been here. So it's looking forward to it. Awesome.
This might be a good time to bring in Coach Walker. Coach Walker, of course, you were on staff this past year, served in a couple of capacities with the basketball team and the football team. Have here recently been elevated now to name the head basketball coach of the boys team. I know that's got to be exciting for you, and I'm sure you're looking forward to that challenge.
Yes, sir, I am.
I knew you would do good in Studio B, T-Bird. I knew it.
This is my first time.
Of course, you've had a lot of success coaching. You coached down at Atmore, watched our teams go against your teams. Very impressed with the way you coached and held your kids accountable down there. They're a very disciplined basketball team, and a lot of similarities between you and Coach Johnson in terms of up-tempo, wanting to play defense. So it should be a pretty smooth transition for the players already in the system.
Yes, sir, it will be, because I called him sometimes when we played in Atmore. We played some of the same teams, and he's like a big brother to me. So we run almost the same set: defensive strategy, offensive strategy, fast breaks, and so on. So it'll probably be a smooth transition for the kids also.
Got a question for you. You're also a math teacher there at the high school.
Yes,
you teach
honors geometry, honors algebra, and reckless geometry.
Got a question for you. And it's a hypothetical question. If you had a student,
right,
that somehow, some way, by the grace of God, passed all 4 9 weeks,
right,
and then managed to bow up and make a 29 on the final exam, which kicked them into summer school.
Right.
How could you explain that? How could that happen?
I don't know.
29 out of 100.
I don't know. There's only one way to explain it. Might be a belt. Might be. I don't know.
That situation's got to get addressed.
That's a challenge in the studio right there.
Wow.
I'll tell you. That's
I think the gauntlet just got laid down right there.
I'm still shaking my head on that one. 29.
I've seen hockey scores higher than that. That sounds like my first calculus test at Troy.
29.
I'm telling you, I think I made a 14. I knew I had to get in the learning center, and I did.
Well, we're gonna get it addressed one way or the other. But once again, Coach Walker, glad to have you here in the capacity you are, and of course, you've already been a benefit in the last year coaching some of the JV teams. I know you were a big hit with the girls basketball team. My niece is on the team, and she speaks of you like you're royalty. I know you're going to have the respect of the kids, and looking forward to what you're going to do with that program, and looking forward to supporting Tigers basketball also.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Now I'm going to bring in Coach Kevin Madden. Kevin, of course, the head baseball coach, following another big set of shoes to fill. Jimmy Hart, you, of course, played for, I think, Coach Hart and Coach Roch probably when you were winding up your career several years ago. Is that right?
Right, yeah. Coach Hart took over my senior year, and Coach Roch was there beforehand.
I tell you, and you did a lot of great things this past spring. The play of the team speaks for itself. That home opener, and it was your idea to retire the numbers 4 and 29. Hoss and Jimmy Hart, I thought that was first class, and certainly well deserved to have those numbers hanging forever now at Miller Cruz. That was first class, Coach.
Well, I appreciate it. And that honor in itself speaks for itself, because they deserved every bit of it. And I that was one of the things. If I ever got to come home, one of the first things I wanted to do was to honor them, because they meant a lot to me. Meant a lot to what they instilled in me as far as pride and character and just how to work. And they taught me a lot. So it's just my part in trying to give back to them and their families.
Talk a little bit about year one. When you come home, you have these expectations. I'm sure a lot of them were met. Some of it probably wasn't quite like you thought it would be. It never is. Talk a little bit about year one, how it went, some of the things that you were very excited about, maybe some things that you're looking forward to in the future, things along that line.
Well, we had a great foundation that had already been laid down when I got here, and this summer, the kids. I can't speak highly enough about how the kids recepted everything that we wanted to put in. This past summer, they hit it running. Everything we did, they were 100% bought in. And, usually, you're going to have some, in your first year, you may have a little fighting with some of the kids that's already established and, don't want to change or are not open to as much change. But they received me well. And we were able to, I thought, advanced a little farther and a lot quicker than I expected. But, again, the foundation that was already here when I got here was already laid, and we were able to pick up and made a good run at it. And and everything. So,
Any updated information on the stadium there at Miller Cruz in terms of the stands being built, the press box? Is that still on schedule to go
right,
off the summer?
They're starting the process of going and getting the bleachers started. So that should be in the process of being the start to making right now.
Going to go back and bring Coach Thomas in. And Coach Thomas, this is more of an AD question, I guess, in terms of being over all the athletics. You talked about facilities and the improvements we've had, and for those of us that have lived here forever, I mean, it's a completely different campus up there now with the school, the way it presents itself on the highway, and of course the stuff behind it, and in terms of athletic facilities, the practice field, the field house, things of that nature. But I promise you, I think the single greatest improvement to the entire complex is the TRM lit up sign on the back of the press box. That is, I've eaten a many hamburgers from Whataburger just sitting out there waiting for the light to kick on. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Every time I drive by there, I can't help but turn and look at it and see it. Whoever's idea was for that's sharp. That's sharp.
Did you have AD responsibilities at Trenton High School also?
I did not. No, sir. But I've been so hands on with a lot of things and worked right next to guys that've been ADs, and I've been a head boys basketball coach for 4 years. I was a girls softball coach for 3 years. Coach track. A lot of things that a lot of assistants do is they're trying to work their way up as far as trying to be a head coach. So I've taken on a lot of roles. So I kind of understand a lot of the logistics that other sports go through with things. I think I've coached everything but volleyball. That understanding I'm comfortable with. A big thing for me is getting used to the transition between Alabama and Florida as far as rules go and different. I mean, there's a lot of differences in those kind of things, and then obviously there's more responsibility with hiring and then just set up a thing. So, but I'm excited about it. I've wanted this opportunity.
Awesome. We're once again absolutely excited to have you here and looking forward to the direction you're going to take our program. Coach Walker, I want to bring you back in, and of course I kind of posed the question to Coach Madden just a little bit. You're coming home also. You started here in football and basketball about 10 years ago. Talk about your first year here, how it went, some of the things that were the way that you thought they'd be, some of the things that might have been a little different, anything along those lines that kind of on the top of your head?
Well, yeah, I had fun when I first got here because I met Coach Madden. I met Coach Madden, and we took over the boys' football team, middle school team, and we had a rough start when we first played, first 4 games, and he gave me the offensive coordinator position, and then he fired me at the end of the year because I didn't score the points that I was supposed to. So I guess then we both moved up to the varsity level. But the middle school thing, I'm glad I started off young because moving up to the high school now, I know the kids from the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade and so on. So like I said, I want to start my pipeline kind of young. But it's been a smooth transition and everything. Been a smooth transition. I love being home. My family's back at home and everything else. So I just love being back home.
Ken and I, we were talking the other day, and in our lifetime anyway, there was no changes at the high school in terms of personnel, in terms of people, coaches, administrators, whatnot. And here in the last 12 months, we've changed superintendents. We have a new principal, I think, coming online at the high school next year. Several new coaches have come in, new teachers and things of that nature. And it's an exciting time. I mean, we've obviously, I think, have done well. But you and I went up and met the new band director last week. He seems like a first-class guy coming from a good program. And it's just a lot of exciting things going on in the school system. And sometimes change isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No. And I want to know from Coach Madden, have you taught anybody to throw that wicked curveball?
No, not yet.
I know one that he didn't teach. The same one that might have made a 29 because it came in there kind of flat a couple of times.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you right now. I had a chance of standing in the batter's box in Little League and Babe Ruth a few times with Kevin throwing that curveball, and I'll be the first to tell you I fell out of the batter's box because that ball was going to hit you.
Well, you started throwing it at 6 in machine pitch.
I don't know. I mean, it was rough.
I was umpiring.
Is it still that nasty? Kevin?
Not anymore. I've done got old and the arms got a little rusty. But I want to tell you, who taught me the grip back when I guess was 7 or 8 years old. Guy Sawyer, he showed me that grip, and that was pretty much the grip I stayed with all through college. And
man, it was wicked.
I umpired Little League baseball when Kevin was playing on the Braves, and he would throw it from shortstop. a ground ball be hit to him, and this is an automatic grip, and bam, there you go.
I'm going to tell a funny story on Scooter Tucker. I know you know Scooter. I don't know if you know Scooter or not. Scooter played in the majors, and Scooter's a good friend of mine, and Scooter point blank told me that he got out of the majors because he couldn't hit a curveball, and he was a catcher, and he couldn't hit one, and he got tired of falling out of the batter's box in front of people, and so he went into coaching instead, and his claim to fame, and I'll tell this, and if he's watching one day, he'll call me tomorrow and tell me shouldn't be telling that because he's a good guy. But Ron Gant hit a home run, and he was catching, and Ron stood there at the plate and watched it. When he turned around, he winked at Scooter, and Scooter run him down the first baseline and ended up on the front page of Sports Illustrated.
Wow.
That happened.
Scooter?
Yeah, and Scooter wasn't a small fella. Neither was Ron Gant.
Well, we have a catcher, another former catcher that might be calling a little bit later who could hit a curveball. We'll save that for here for a minute. But there's a guy that is scheduled to call in that could hit him a long, long ways. Yeah. It's not Michael English. It's another guy. It's another guy. Coach Thomas, I want to bring Coach Thomas back in real quick. And when we talk about you never know who's watching, future opponents or whatnot, what are some of the things Tiger fans can look for in terms of schematics, offensively, defensively, that you're going to instill that we can kind of get a heads up on here on the bottom line?
Number one, we're going to be physical. I mean, that everything that, on both sides of the ball is about being physical. I mean, that's
hitting goes a long ways in tackle football.
It does. And, sometimes I can't even watch a game on TV with how soft some of them are. So, I mean, that's number one. If we ain't going to be physical, then nothing's going to – it don't matter what we're going to do schematically. But I've always been a defensive first mentality. And even though, probably been more on the offensive side as far as hands-on with some stuff, I was the OC as long, being the head coach when I was at Trenton. But, I mean, we were going to make sure that I didn't care if I scored 7 if we could shut them out. That's my number one thing is trying to get our best on defense. And usually, in a small school, kids got to play both ways. But my philosophy is if we're going to rotate a little bit, we're going to rotate on offense. And, I want to get my best on defense. And, that's just kind of how I was brought up a little bit in coaching and how I've had success with it, even though, I mean, we've been a high-powered offense where I've been at Trenton, but still have, when it come tough time, we were defensively, we played well. And, we won some couple championships we wouldn't have won if we wasn't so good on defense. So, that's my number one thing. And again, being physical and, our workouts are intense. So just instilling that in our workouts and how hard we're going to work from there and taking it to the practice field. But I've always kind of offensively revolved things around the option. I know you got to have your personnel that fits things. But if I had my choice, I'd like to be able to run a lot of option, and you just don't see enough of it at the high school level anymore, and everything's gone spread. But my offense is really, I can't really describe it. It's kind of a when you start up front, it's a wing T base as far as a lot of rules go. But I've always, if you prepared for us, you knew you was going to have to stop midline veer, outside veer, those type of things first. And then we had a lot of wing T schemes off of that. And we might be in the eye, more than anything, but we're still schematically doing a lot of things up front. It's wing T-ish.
Okay.
And going gun and being a lot of, schemes that's kind of wing T concepts. And been games where we've thrown the ball a lot, but I mean, when you take a physical mentality, you want to run the football. And I mean, that's if I can run the ball 60 times and don't have to throw it one time and we're going to run it down your throat, that's what we're going to do. So it's just, that's what I've always believed in. That's what gets me excited. And if I can sit there and run the power 20 plays in a row, it's coming at you. So, that's kind of where
you got me ready to hit somebody now, Coach. And we're sitting here in May, and I'm ready to try to light somebody up.
And I get here and I hear the contact limitations in Alabama. We had Florida have it up as much as we wanted to. So there'll be some adjustments as far as practice planning things. We'll have to do that I didn't have to worry about in Florida. But I've always been that way. That's kind of been my thought pro and being physical basketball.
Sure.
And grew up a Bob Knight fan. And I've just kind of always that discipline and taking that into football. And offensively, I mean, we're no huddle. We'll be no huddle. Doesn't mean we're going to be Oregon speed or Auburn speed, with that, but we will have tempo.
I wouldn't
control.
pattern anything after Auburn at this point.
See, I was going to say, our offense might have some Auburn type schemes, but Auburn don't score, so I didn't want to say that.
We used to.
You had no problem saying it, Coach. I mean, it came right on out there. I tell you what, let's take a short break and get things reset, and we'll be back with Coach Thomas, Coach Walker, and Coach Madden here in Studio B. Back in Studio B here at the Bottom Line, and we talked about having a special guest call in. I understand, Ken, that we have him on the air. And before we get to him, he's at least the second best baseball player now involved in this conversation.
Well, I'll tell you what.
He won't need a real introduction.
I'll never told. He said he's all in the books at Tuscaloosa, and I said, "Okay, well, fantastic. At least we got somebody." Well, Josh, I guess he played a little basketball, but So, Brent, how's it going?
Good, guys. How you doing?
Coach Brent Boyd from the Spanish Fort Toros in Studio B on the Bottom Line. Coach Boyd, thank you so much for being a part of the program here tonight.
I'm glad to be here. Glad to be a part of the program, guys.
Hey, Coach, you're on with David Jennings and Coach Kevin Madden, the head baseball coach here at Miller, Coach Terrence Walker, the head basketball coach, and, of course, Coach Andrew Thomas, the head football coach and athletic director. But we thought we were talking, DJ and I were talking a little earlier, or actually I overheard a little conversation earlier today between he and Coach Madden, and Coach Madden was talking about trying to fill his schedule. And I said, "Hey, man, I might know somebody that would help fill that thing if y'all want to do it." So I said, "Why don't we call Brent up and see if we can't get him to talk about that?" What's your schedule look like,
brother,
Coach?
Hey, I got a couple dates available, Kevin. If you want to just text me, man, just anytime you want to get together, I'd love to have you. Well, hey, I'll come there.
All right, that sounds good. Everybody I've talked to is starting to fill up early already, so I need to give you a call.
Oh man, it's crazy.
Well, Coach, scheduling, this new scheduling with 28 games instead of dates is made it tougher to schedule. So,
well, Coach Boyd, I know that you usually schedule and beat the Chicago Cubs and the Atlanta Braves. Can you fit the little TR Miller Tigers in there somewhere?
Oh man, I usually am very, very proud and very, very humble at the same time. But after the year we had this year, I have to say that the way TR Miller played, I would have wished our guys would have played that way this year. They, of course, we had some injuries, we struggled a little bit, but at the same time, we didn't play as well as we should have down the stretch. So I did get to listen and keep up with Kevin, and I do want to take a moment and say congratulations to him on turning that program around. And, I've played against, we've coached against Kevin for a while. now, and man, I was rooting for you the whole way, buddy.
Well, I appreciate it, and yeah, we've had some battles, and you do a great job there at Spanish Fort, and we always dreaded coming over and playing you when we were at Fairhope, and so your program's always prepared and always ready to play.
I appreciate it.
I heard Coach Thomas say a while ago he always heard to make them come to you. Brett just said he would come to you.
That's it.
He said, yeah, he said they'd come up here. So and I think that was one of the stipulations the athletic director just laid down.
I'm wanting to book.
I'll tell you what, it was easy for. I'll go over there. I got a place to stay, and we can just make that happen. But,
there you go.
Yeah.
The funny thing is when you always want them to come to you and play at home, home field advantage and play in Spanish Fort because we have a great crowd and do all that, but. Down here, they love their baseball so much. They would travel just about anywhere just to watch the boys play. So it's a great following for sure.
I was not to put any pressure on you or anything, but if we were able to come there and play, Coach Fuller at Fairhope, this past season we came and played a doubleheader, and he fed us crawfish after the game. So there may be some stipulations if we come down there. We may have to work something out.
Throw in a bus fare.
That could happen. That could definitely happen, Kevin. But I'm gonna tell you this: if you beat me, you're not eating crawfish. You're going home hungry.
That would be it.
I ain't all about all that now. Steve Fuller's just way nicer than I am, and you know that.
That's what I told him to begin with. I said, that's bad. I'm coming all this way for 2 butt whippings, and you're going to feed us at the same time. So it better be nice. He said, well, I know you like crawfish, so we're gonna do it right. So
absolutely, we'll make that happen for sure.
All right.
Listen, DJ, what was you saying? You want to go ahead and make?
I want to book the deal right now. We have a summit. We have all the decision makers for TR Miller right here. Yeah, we have a quorum.
We have a quorum.
Coach Thomas and AD can sign off on it. We have the head baseball coach. I'm thinking a doubleheader at the Cruise. I don't know, March 18th. That sound good?
I'd have to have my schedule in front of it. It sounds good.
I don't
Let's
have my
book it
in front of me, but hey, you know what? I'll just scratch a date and we'll just make that happen.
There you go.
Now, wait a minute. You sound too anxious, Coach. You sound a little too anxious to get up here.
I know what I got coming back.
I don't like the way that sounded. I don't like the way that sounded at all.
And I've definitely seen them play. They're not scared to play
I don't want
anybody.
to get into that, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't want to say I won't beat you, but I'll probably beat you.
And I tell you
we
what,
all got the same colors on, so it'd be some pretty uniforms.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all. He's a rabid Alabama fan too.
I was fixing to say.
And so me and my brother, we hear it every year about how bad they're gonna beat, of course, Auburn, and then. I know why he wants to come play Miller so bad, where he can rub that on us as well too. You know what I'm saying?
But we'll always have kick six.
Hey, Brett, we will always have that kick six game.
Always have the kick six. It was 100.
That's what I'm gonna say. Right? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about right there. I think you bring it on yourself, Ken. And your brother's even worse.
Oh man, yeah, he's worse because he's more analytical about it than I am for sure.
100.
Yeah, I mean, me and Ken can get into a shouting match and we can get it over with. And Josh just is a slot. He just sneaks him in there, just slowly, methodically, just starts punching you in the gut until finally you have to do something. But
Brett,
I've got a question for Coach Boyd.
Go ahead, DJ.
And of course, he's a master strategist. His coaching record speaks for itself. But you're going to try a 74-yard field goal in front of 90,000 fans, and the guy returns it 109 yards for the winner. How does that happen?
And I
or was it 84?
Yeah, it might have been 94. I think the idea sounded great, but and being a coach, you always sit there and listen to what happens and how a certain coach responds. And obviously, everybody listens to coach, to Saban and what he has to do and what he has to say. But I've heard him multiple times say he regrets doing that and making that decision over and over and over again. And there's just nothing you can do about it. I mean, that's like the largest stage in the country, and probably the worst game that could have happened. And listen, there's a lot of situations where I'm certainly not on that stage, but I can tell you this much: there's a lot of times that I put my foot in my mouth or I make a bad call, and I wish to God that nobody was in the stands and nobody could see it. But I have a feeling that he was probably feeling that same way that night. And I don't know. I just heard him say. I've heard him say how he still regrets doing stuff like that. He's one of those guys that thinks about the losses all the time, a lot more than he thinks about the wins. And I bet you that thing haunts him just about as much as you think it does.
Well, I'll tell you this, and T.R. Miller football fans, I think, will understand this, especially if they listen to the games on Friday nights. My 6-year-old daughter had a better chance of making that kick than that guy did.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, but your 6-year-old daughter probably scored more points than Auburn did last year.
Hey, I told you, man, he's brutal.
I tell you what, he's pretty sharp.
He's brutal.
Too.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you.
When you're the leading home run hitter at Alabama, you can say those things.
You can say whatever you want.
You can say whatever you want to say.
You know, the thing, let me tell you about talking about my brother being kind of short on witty on him. The first time he ever met Brent, he walked in to sit down next to Brent, looked at him. He said, "So what's your deal?" First thing he said to the guy, and then Josh went to doing his investigation on him, checking him out, just seeing all this and that and other. And he called me up. He said, "Man, this dude's for real."
Oh, there's no doubt. Go look at just open up the record books.
He was me and King kind of hit it off. We'd like to just chill and have a good time. Josh is going to go thorough, man. He's going to go all the way through the book, and he's going to ask 50 questions. He's going to say, and at the end of it, he's either going to approve or disapprove. And Whitney warned me on that, and I'm telling you right now, it's just like, the dad was nothing compared to Josh. I was just sitting there going, man, this is terrible.
And on top of it, he's 6'8" and about, I don't know, 260, something.
Yeah.
That didn't help matters at all. But
no, and he's smarter. He's smarter than all of us put together.
Yeah, that's the worst part. If I had to say anything, so we want to say that if this thing happens, Coach Madden, Coach Boyd, if there is some food to eat, we want to be a part of it because we helped to put this thing together.
It was birthed right here in Studio B.
It was birthed right here on the bottom line.
Y'all got the first invite.
As long as I can get some slaw from David's Catfish, I don't care anything else.
We can make that happen.
We lost our David. I've been regretting that ever since.
I guarantee you, Josh Godwin would be more than accommodating for that right there. I have no doubt. Hey, Brett, thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it. Appreciate you taking the time out to be with us here, and I know that we are all looking forward to this. We got to make this happen.
Showdown.
Yeah, we got to make this happen.
That's right.
We would definitely want to see it.
Yeah, me and Kevin will talk. We'll sit down and chat a little bit, see if we can come up with a good date. I've got a couple dates available, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Like I said, we'll make the trip. I love going over there, and I've never played against T.R. Miller. I never coached against T.R. Miller, so I would love to have the first one be against Kevin because I know he is, like he said about me, he's 10 times that. He's going to have his team ready to play, and I really enjoy playing a worthy opponent for sure.
Well, we'll definitely get together and put something on paper and make it happen.
Well, good luck, buddy, and I appreciate you very much. And I enjoyed listening to your success this year, and I want you to keep it up. Okay, pal?
Well, I appreciate it, and great hearing from you. And look forward to seeing you in the future.
Okay, thanks, Ken, very much. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Hey,
Thanks.
Brett, thank you for taking the time, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Take care.
How about that? Have I gotten you in the deep end or what, Coach Madden?
That's good. I like that.
I knew you wouldn't back up from it, Coach. Thomas, you gonna let it go down if we can get a date worked out?
Hey, if you're scared, say you're scared.
Saying always was, you're scared, call the police, and we're not dialing 911 yet.
Tell what we can do. We'll just go ahead and book them in football and basketball too. Wait a minute, Coach from T-Bird. What's that look for?
Well, we'll see.
Good stuff here on the bottom line. Coach Brent Boyd joining us via phone call from Spanish Fort, Alabama, home of the Toros. I might have something cooking there.
I think so. I think, just listening to him, I think they might have had a year he wasn't so happy with. But, that's one thing about him. You'll never have to ask where he stands on anything because he's going to tell you. And you'll know it.
To the bottom line.
He's on the bottom. I mean, he is. I promise you, that is exactly how he rolls. He will tell you real quick.
Never met Coach Boyd personally, and he just shot me down and shut me down quick.
and he would do it 10 more times if he had to. So
one thing I can say, he's quick-witted. He's quick on his feet.
I tell you what would be a good draw, or another good draw if we get it booked, is you come out and throw BP to him before the game and watch and see how far that ball could sail on top of the basketball gym. Maybe a fundraiser of some sort.
Somebody else throw BP. Being an ex-pitcher, I don't like giving up those home runs in BP.
I think he has an SEC record for grand slams in a year. I think he hit like 6 or 7 in 1 year.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Yeah, he like I said,
he's in the book.
He's definitely.
You can Google Brent Boyd and he will be in the book.
You can look that up.
That's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt.
I want to shift gears just a little bit back to Coach Thomas and just talk about the coaching profession in and of itself and the impact that all of you guys and gals that coach and teach and whatnot, and the impact you have on our young people, whether it's in the classroom, on the street, whatever it may be. I know how I felt about my coaches. We shared some of the same ones and the impact they had on me. Talk about that part of it and how that serves as your motivation and your inspiration to get up out of the bed each morning.
I think that's probably the biggest reason most of us do it, is what we get out of it in the end with the relationships we build with these young men and young ladies. And, I know for me, I come from a solid home, but I still look back on coaches I had that molded me and really wanted me to get in this profession of kind of some of the things they taught me that just really inspired me and wanted me to be able to give that back. And and when you're at a place long enough, I was long enough at Trenton to be able to coach some kids in 8th grade on through, and they're graduating this year. It's I'm actually leaving Friday to go to graduation there, and tears in my eyes just seeing some of them guys, seeing how far they've come as young men, and some of the things that they've battled, and you're right there in their lives. And it's why we do it. I know it's why I wake up every morning is that, you obviously love the coaching aspect and then the competitive aspect of being a coach, but at the end of the day, it's how you can affect lives.
Sitting here looking at you guys, and of course the coaches we already have on staff, and when you see new people come in, you never know if that hire is going to be the one that really puts its footprint or handprint on the community, on the school or whatnot. I know that Ken and I were talking about this today. In 1974, Dale Garner and Coach Cotton hired 2 new young coaches, Donnie Roch and Jimmy Hart. And what they meant to the community in terms of their involvement and the impact they had, obviously what they've meant to TRM Miller High School, it's beyond what you could value in terms of money. And also Kim Owens. Kim Owens came in the late 70s, and she basically, I guess, jump-started or maybe started from scratch the women's sports program. And of course, she's retired at the end of the year. And when you have hires like that, home run hires, whatever you want to call it, people who've had that kind of impact, and then you see other coaches come in, I guess I'm trying to bring up a question here. Is that something that kind of inspires you? Probably even more so to the guys who were rooted here. Like when you come home and you know what kind of impact they had. I mean, y'all played for them, or certainly around them as administrators or coaches or whatnot. You kind of see yourself, 30 years from now, that Dr. Varner, Coach Thomas, whoever it may be that hired you in, you might very well be viewed that way. I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
Right, and that's a huge responsibility at the same time. I mean, I think back of all the things that Coach Roch and Coach Hart taught me, and, I still, some of our signs are the same signs I had from Coach Roch.
Yeah.
Some of the same, we'll pick up trash, we'll, make the kids walk the perimeter of the field and pick up trash. Some of the same things that Coach Roch had us do. And, it's just kind of that legacy lives on and what they've already done. And, you just hope that you can just be a part of that and keep that going, keep that tradition and legacy going. And, it's like I said, some huge shoes to fill. And like Coach Thomas talked about, I mean, that's the reason we get up every morning is, to hopefully touch these lives in a positive way, because you never know what they're going home to. We may be the only positive, advice that they hear all day. So, huge responsibility, but at the same time, that's, a huge honor to have that opportunity to do that.
And once again, of course, this is for everybody, and this is a hypothetical situation. There are some kids who are going to respond differently to coaches than they are to parents. They just do. I certainly did in some cases. Not that it was disrespectful towards my parents, but it was a different relationship, a neat relationship, a healthy relationship. And once again, on a hypothetical situation, there may be a kid that makes a 29 on a semester exam that
I kind of knew this was coming.
You feel like the communication lines are open, and you feel like you're getting your point across, but it's obvious when the 29 hits the paper that you're not. So in those cases, you kind of look to other influences in their lives to maybe help them get that point. Is that something that you relish as well, or something that you welcome as an opportunity?
Well, you're a lot of them's dad to a degree
Sure.
anyway. Even ones that's got great, fathers as well. I mean, you take that on, and then there's so many I know through. I mean, I haven't been coaching 30 years, but I've been at it enough that a lot of guys that I've worked with, I mean, I was the closest thing to a dad that they had, and so it's just teaching those values and discipline to kids too, that I think at the end of the day, they appreciate it in what you're able to do to them, even if they might not like you and might call you bad names behind your back when you leave. But I know for me personally, I can think of a coach back when I was in high school that rode me pretty hard, and I didn't think good things about him at the time. But looking back, it changed me, made me a better person, and you appreciate it. And later on, you don't see it at the time, but and I kind of see things that same way as I'm dealing with a kid.
We mentioned it last week, I think, Ken, and one of the things that sticks with me to this day, I remember playing Little League baseball as a 10-year-old. The league was 9 through 12. It was my second year. Coach Donnie Roch was over the summer program. He was umpiring down at O'Banning. He was behind the plate. He was the umpire. And I remember he looked down at me and he said, "Hey, Hoss," he said, "you going to play for me when you get in high school?" I looked at him. I said, "Yes, sir, I am." He said, "If you don't tuck that shirt tail in, you won't." Got a quick timeout. I'll never forget that. Got the shirt tail in, but like even then, he was having an impact, having an influence. So you never know. The more that our children are around you guys, the greater the impact is going to be. I guess what I'm trying to say. So I am looking forward to all of you guys having your hands on our young people. And they're the coaches as well. Coach Peacock, Coach Edge, Coach Axon, all of them. I think we have a real strong staff in place to help kind of fill in the gaps a little bit, to mold our young people and help them transition into young adulthood from childhood, because that's it doesn't just happen automatically. I mean, people have to invest in each other to get that to happen.
That's right.
T-Bird, want to bring you in just again real quick, and once again the facial expressions. I knew you'd be a hit in here, T-Bird. I knew it. If nobody else was, I knew you would be.
A little shy. Hey, Mom.
Talk a little bit about working with Coach Jackson. We've talked about the big shoes to fill around here and the icons. Coach Jackson has certainly put his stamp on our school as well. What he has done, I don't know how many blue maps he's won, but it's been a bunch. And I can guarantee you this: when we make it to the Final Four, he's the best dressed coach there, always, hands down.
Always. Well, working with Coach Jack is because a lot of my defensive strategies that I tried in Atmore came from Coach Jack. And Coach Jack, just working with him this year, he goes over things, the little things. He always says the little things counts. And defensively, he will stay 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, wherever it takes to just go over defensive strategies. And he just taught me about the kids, how kids interact, and about how to be a head coach more often. But just working with Coach Jack has been a great tool, and I'm still hoping that he will help me and I can help him still for the years to come. So
I'll tell you, while we're lining up games, a pretty good game next year might be the girls against the boys.
Might be. I will.
Illyria,
yes,
Kylie,
yes.
Steely.
So hopefully we can win the state championship next year. So that's what we're looking for. Should have made it this year, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So but that would be a good matchup.
Would you take it easy on them?
Hopefully he'll take it easy on us. So some good girls coming back. The entire team is coming back almost. So they're going to be pretty good next year. I can say that much. So.
Coach Thomas, want to bring you back. Of course, school winding down, graduation tomorrow night. When does the all-season program start for the football team? I know it's a pretty quick turnaround. They don't get much of a summer break, so to speak.
Yeah, my philosophy's always been there really ain't an off-season, There's season, and you continue to grow. I mean, that's how I've had success of doing that with our kids, and I always want my kids to play as much as possible too. If my players can play basketball and baseball and run track, and I want them to do as much as they can, because I firmly believe competition makes you better, and enjoying the high school experience too. But I kind of hit the ground running as far as establishing what I want to do in the weight room, and the foundation's been laid as far as kids working hard, and the strengths there with these kids. But I have some different philosophies with some training, and we're really focusing on trying to be a little bit more explosive and speed wise, trying to get a little bit faster. So we had a good 6 weeks, and June 6th we'll get kicking off, giving them a week off next week, and then we're gonna hit the ground running again in the summer and really push them and challenge them. And when I talked to them the other day in the team meeting, it was really kind of challenging them that they were kind of saying, man, these workouts are pretty intense. You ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till the summer. And I try. Everybody thinks they have a limit. And my goal is to realize that it's way higher than what they think they can get, and just pushing kids further than what they thought they could go, and trying to break them. Really,
sure,
that's how you get the best out of them. When I was at Trenton, we were never the best. I mean, we lost a lot of pre-games, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
we didn't look
on the
good.
hoof, yeah,
on the hoof, we didn't look good. We got laughed at a lot, and then about the mid third quarter when that clock's running, they ain't laughing no more. So,
right.
I want kids to have a nasty mentality and a tough mentality, and that's how we're going to go about it, and that's how we train, and just I think that's how you develop. I mean, you got to develop it, and then pre-prepared for how you do things. And I'm excited about summer. I'm late, obviously, getting things installed and stuff, not having an opportunity to go through 10 days with them in the spring. So
how big of an obstacle do you think that is?
Well, I'm trying to be smart and be wise with what I want to do as far as changes, because you can't just go in and just turn everything around when you don't have an opportunity to build up to the season with a spring and those type of things. And there's going to be a lot of different terminology on the offensive side. Not a lot of play changes necessarily, but terminology is going to be different, and trying to install some option stuff is obviously going to be new. And defensively, we're going to, that's where I'm kind of looking that we're not going to make as much changes, especially with the terminology and some of the we're still going to be a 3-4 defense, but we're going to make some changes as far as some of the things we do against spread. That I kind of want to get a little different philosophy with some things with alignment and those type of things, and coverages will be a little bit more multiple in that aspect. But I don't want to burn a kid out in the summer at the same time trying to put things in, because 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, they need a little bit of free time in the summer as far as just freeing their mind and stuff. But
are you the play caller?
I am, yes sir. That's something I've always wouldn't mind getting to the point to turn it over to somebody, but being first year here,
sure,
and putting a new system in and those type of things, that I just feel like I need to have a little bit more hands on with that, at least this year. And I was at Trenton, was always a play caller, and I like being able to control tempo with things and being able to call plays, and being no huddle, and even that we might be slow being no huddle, but we, then we want to pick it up, we'll pick it up. I like being able to control tempo, and that kind of comes back to some basketball philosophy and stuff.
Sure.
Where you can control and press and do different things. So, I like that. That's kind of feel like I got a little bit of control there on that aspect. But, again, as far as changes and stuff, I've never thought myself being all that bright. So I always try and keep things simple.
Self-inflicted. Yes, sir. Not a bad policy.
I want to keep it simple as far as terminology. I mean, I'm not a John Gruden play caller where it's gonna,
once again, hypothetically, you got guys that have made 29.
Yeah, I know. I got to take that is, especially kids, that might be in a quarterback position that are making 29s too. So. But
hypothetically,
yeah. If that was the case.
I got another hypothetical question for you, if I can ask it. Great coaching staff in place, high-spirited, high-emotional guys. Let's just say that you had a coach.
I know where you're going.
And his name was Mob Backinson. Let's just say he averaged about 3 penalties a game. About 3 penalties a year. Does that ever become an issue?
are we just talking about
hypothetical?
Or we're just saying it's just one coach on the sideline?
It's one coach. It's the same coach all the time. That's 19 different times.
That's easy. You know, I'm used to having about 5 I've got to get off the field. So, you know, if it's just one, I think we can hypothetically deal with that situation.
It's just one. Over.
If my guys from Trenton were watching this, they'd be getting a kick out of that because they know what I'm talking about.
Well, it is a hypothetical situation. If there was a person named Ma Backinson, he might be watching it also and getting a kick out of it. But now you got a good staff to work with. I think y'all are going to do big things for us this fall. Let's take a break. Back in Studio B, going to close things up once again with Coach Thomas, Coach Walker, Coach Madden. Once again, I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule to come be with us. I know those listening in have enjoyed it, have had a good time here tonight with Coach Boyd calling in. Really appreciate him doing that for us, and maybe we can get something worked out here with Coach Madden in the ball game. And Coach Thomas, I guess I can speak for you. We're not looking to get a Friday Night Lights matchup with Spanish Fort just yet.
Not yet. We're good right now.
Flomaton, watch out. That's all I can tell you. Flomaton and Excel, you better watch out. Coach Walker, you want any basketball yet, or are we still a year away from?
With Spanish Fort?
Yeah.
Give me a year. Give me a year.
All right.
Be ready in a year.
We got a connection. Ken's got a connection. We've got him on speed dial. So
we can work all that out.
If and when we have to, we can get it going. Closing thoughts going out, and Coach Madden, I'll start with you. Just kind of wrapping it up. How it's gone here at Miller, what you're looking forward to in the future, where you think the program's headed, this, that, and the other.
Well, just first of all, I can't express how excited and how happy I am to be back home, and and just have the opportunity to coach at what I consider the greatest school in America, and just excited about what the future holds. We're going to have a little 3-week instructional period that we're going to tag it with, like a TR Miller Baseball Academy that's going to come up in the next the last 3 weeks of June. And
yeah, plug that. I saw that.
And we're going to open that up to, little league age all the way up through our kids. And we're going to use our kids to kind of help model a lot of our drills, a lot of our terminology, and I hope to start establishing, a lot of things with our younger kids so that they can get involved in the program and see the way that we do things. And that way, when we get them in 8th, 9th grade, we're not having to teach from the ground up. So, I'm excited about that. I've already had some contacts already call me.
When does that academy start again?
Yes. Well, it's the second week of June. I think that's June. I'm not sure what.
How do we go about getting signed up for that?
We've got some forms that are at the front office at the high school. You can go to the website or the Facebook pages on Bruton City Schools and even the baseball page, and we've got the forms on there.
That'd be Monday, June the 6th. If that's you're talking about the second
full week.
Full, because that'd be Monday, June the 13th.
Right.
June the 13th.
We're going to go Monday through Thursday, and it's going to be 1 to 4. And when I set it up, when I used to go to camp, we'd go for a week, and it'd be great lessons, great skill, or a lot of drills, a lot of things that we would learn. And we would remember it. When you come home, you remember it for a few days, and then by the end of the summer, you'd already forgot what you had learned, and just trying to brainstorm and come up with some ideas of how I wanted to do things here. I wanted to give them an opportunity, put it 3 weeks, and then that way, if they can't come every day, they've got an opportunity to make it up the next weeks, and they just are able to do it more days than just that week, and and hope to get a lot of kids involved and start building our program through the younger ages. So
awesome. I want to take the opportunity here, Kevin, to talk about something. The hometown teams exhibit that they're going to have downtown with the Smithsonian sponsoring. You being from Bruton and of course playing at Miller, give us a good story that we can drop in the I guess the drop box, so to speak.
Wow.
I hate to put you on the spot,
but put me on the spot. I'm trying to think of a good story.
I know you got many.
I've got some that you can't put on air, but
those are the best usually.
Mike's hot right now.
Mike's hot.
Well, I got one good story, and this is a Coach Roch story that and I think I think it was my freshman year, and
I wasn't born yet.
and I can't remember who we were playing, and it was a pretty intense situation, and I'm not going to mention any names because but I had some good friends of mine that were sitting in the dugout, and
well, let's see. If they were in the dugout, it had to be Mason Chavers.
It wasn't him. It was they were soft. They were a year ahead of us. So it would have been
Chavez.
I can't remember what was going on, but I looked over and they had full man shoes and all these mustaches and about a full beard drawn on their face with the eye black. And they got to laughing and giggling, and Coach Roch turned around and saw it, and he lost it, and told them not to even bring their glove or their cleats the next day, that they wouldn't need it, and something happened. I think we dropped a fly ball in the middle of in that process of him turning around, and it just escalated from there. And I knew from that point on I better be paying attention to the game, not over there drawing eye black on her face. But
not a good idea.
It was not
a good idea.
Not pleasant at the time, but I don't think they ever put eye black on the right way after that. I don't think they ever wore it. So
once again, for those of you who have sons, nephews, whatever, TR Miller Baseball Academy, June 13th.
Right, and it'd be the 3 weeks, last 3 weeks of June.
Last 3 weeks of June. Go get your form at the schoolhouse. Go online on the Facebook page, TR Miller Baseball. Get
and
that
I know
thing. What's the cost?
The FCA camp is going to be running that second week we're doing it, and we're going to try to work around it. If we have to stay a few minutes, a little while over to work some of those kids to get their drills in, we'll stay as long as we need to. And it's going to be $75. We'll take care of the whole 3 weeks.
Wow.
And and if they have a second child, it's just $25 each additional child. So hopefully make it economic, where they can, it's something they can come out and we can give back to the community and start building it.
Come one, come all.
Come one, come all. That's right.
Look for that, TR Miller Baseball Academy. Coach Walker, how about you? I know the gym will be open during the summer. I think there's a basketball camp going on for our girls and guys for a good part of the summer. What are some of the dates on that?
The dates are June 6th all the way until June 29th. We're going to take some weeks off, July 4th week and July 18th week. The ages range from 5th grade to 9th grade. Anybody can come. Any city can come as long as they register. They can come to the high school and get a registration form, or the middle school, call me or Coach Jack. Again, registration is anytime. Just come in. It's free of charge. Bruton City is doing this for us.
Awesome.
So it runs from 12 to 5 o'clock. and we'll be there all summer. So
Dribbling.
Yes,
Dribbling.
a lot of dribbling.
Dribbling
And defense.
And dribbling.
We're not
dribbling academy.
Yes, we're not worried about shooting not one bit. Dribbling, layups, and defense. And Coach Jackson is running the camp, so we're going to run defense. So, but it's going to be a fun opportunity. Like I said, we want to start young with a young pipeline. Hopefully, Coach Madden doesn't take all our prospects. We're going to be fighting over that. No, I'm just playing. I would like for our athletes, if they have to go to baseball or anything like that, during that time they can miss a day or miss however much time they need to do other sports or go on family vacation. So it's just a vacation.
And young people say there's nothing to do in Bruton.
Yeah, and he just said he just says community wide.
Oh,
it
sure.
doesn't matter what.
It doesn't matter what school.
What school you go to.
You can be from Birmingham and still come to our camp. And the first week actually, Coach Jack has his daughter bringing in some kids from Birmingham area. They're coming down and spend a night for a week, so it'd be a good opportunity for our younger kids to see other cities, how they play basketball and how they perform and everything. So.
Good deal. Looking forward to that, and of course, get your baseball in, get your basketball in, get that cardiovascular going.
It's going to be hot in there too.
It's going to be hot.
Very hot.
It's going to be hot.
So
get out and get signed up and to participate in both of those as much as you can. Two good opportunities. Coach Thomas, going to close with you, and once again, I know you've been here a short period of time. The bottom line welcomes you to Bruton. I hope it's been a smooth transition. I know there's always a couple of things that kind of go into moving, especially when you're moving your family. Looking forward to getting them here when school gets out. Real quick before we leave, if you had a chance to look at our football schedule, if you had a chance to pop any film in of future opponents, what are some of your observations there if you've had that opportunity?
I have not as much as I'd like to at this point. But I see, we're in the toughest region. What I see as far as 3A, especially look at, where the teams ended up last year in the playoff stretch. So, that's just more of a challenge for us, especially within our region that you can't fall behind. So, I've been fortunate to have some success, and having actually in Florida, what you call region games, districts in Florida. But, for my 5 years there, we never lost a district game. So, I mean, I go into every game with that mentality that we're going to win. And, but I know it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a tougher setup than where I was at as far as our competition, comparison. So, I'm looking forward to it though at the same time. And it's, again, I haven't watched everybody, get a lot of feedback from the coaches on going through the schedule and seeing things. Again, I've always been a little bit trying to be a little different in ways of doing things. And I can't put a name on what we do offensively because it's so different, a little bit of everything. But at the same time, it's pretty simple on how we were able to get things done. I was thinking about and I'm sure you've been in this situation. You out there mowing that field.
Done that.
I had some deep thoughts while I was mowing the field today, and I'm thinking about kind of a motto, so to speak, for this year. Just a motto in general. My motto's always been toughness, hard work, discipline. That's what that THD we was a tag force and when I was at Trenton, and that's always kind of been my foundation. We're going to build everything around that. But something I like that Stanford's put out, and it really to me seems like it relates to us at Miller, and that's intellectual brutality.
Yeah.
And I like that. That seems to fit us. It fits my philosophy. I mean, we got a lot of smart kids, and we want to be nasty, we want to be physical, intellectual brutality. Well, hypothetically, most of our kids are pretty smart.
Whoa.
And I do want to mention June 9th is our quarterback club golf tournament.
Yes.
At the country club. That's going to be at 1:00. So, we want to fill up all the carts and get as many teams as we can in that.
Where do we register for that?
Oh, I know that online with I want to say that the Bruton City Schools might have the flyer online. I saw it there. There should be one up at the front office as well. But anybody can contact me, contact the school to get a hold of me, or our quarterback club. Any of the members that they know has got information with it. Jimbo Hart, our president, and he's got a lot of that information with that. But that's coming up here in just a couple of weeks. So looking forward to that and trying to raise money for our quarterback club.
Very good. Coach, has anybody talked to you about W.S. Neal?
Who?
Has your truck ever been egged?
Who?
You're gonna have all the patience. You're gonna have a lot of latitude, a lot of patience on behalf of the people at TR Miller, unless it goes bad that night.
Yeah.
And then that's why I asked, has your truck ever been egged?
Have you ever been water ballooned off the visitor bleachers on Belleville Avenue?
Everything's going to be good. Everything's going to be fine.
Because that will happen.
Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine.
I've been in some intense rivalries before, nothing with to the degree of Miller and Neal, especially with the I guess publicity of this rivalry. I know it's kind of nationwide, kind of known for people that really look into those things. I've definitely heard a lot about it. So, but as far as nerves wise, I've been in some intense. We're I could say it really wasn't a rivalry until I got to Trenton, but where I'm from and where I coached for 9 years at Dixie County, it got into some strange situation. Of course, I'm from there. The head coach, who was a big mentor to me in coaching, his brother was my defensive coordinator at Trenton. My nephew was his starting quarterback at Dixie. And then there was a lot of hate between the, when you playing each other, you 15 miles apart and you play in a regular season, then you're meeting in the playoffs, especially deep. We beat them in the state semis in 13 and really shouldn't have won. They were a better football team on paper and probably play them 10 times. They win 8 of them, but they didn't win that night. That's pretty intense.
Sure.
There's even after that game was over with, it on and on with that. And, it's been for about 3 years, some intense, and with kids getting into some issues against each other, some fighting and this, that, and that it goes on with that kind of stuff. I've kind of had to be in those moments before, so I won't feel too uncomfortable with it that I've never been there, but I'm looking forward to it. And then I realized that my paycheck kind of comes down to one game.
It's a big one. It is certainly a big one. Everybody that has stood in the shoes you're going to stand in here next fall has kind of felt it also, but you're going to do well. I can tell just by conversing here with you tonight. You're wired for it. You're going to be disciplined, physical, hard-nosed, old-school football, so to speak, and those guys usually do well in that contest, so looking forward to what you're going to bring to TR Miller.
I'm excited about it. Yep.
That's going to wrap it up here tonight, Ken. I tell you what, another great program here. Our coaches in, and we talked about home run hires earlier. I'm really excited about what our young people get to play for these guys and what they're going to do, not only for our school, but for our community.
Absolutely. Looking forward to a great year and a great many years to come with the crew sitting here with us tonight. And I think all three of them said, well, I know Coach Thomas, but Coach Walker and Coach Madden both said they're going to be on the football field as well. Yeah. So looking forward to some big games.
Tell you a lot of things that were said here tonight that I'm excited about. And, of course, you could kind of look at the personality of all three of them. They're intense. They're gonna be players, coaches. They're going to invest in the kids, but the bar of accountability is going to be held high, and they're going to help the kids get there. And I think that's a big part of it. If you can get your kids to play hard and invest in them as people, I think you got a better chance of getting what they have to offer out of them.
There's no doubt about it. Want to mention again the hometown teams project going on. If you've got some stories you'd like to submit, I think they've got some things like that going on. Opportunities to
June the 10th. when it opens.
Okay, June 10th.
Walter Lewis is is on tap to be the MC for that, to kind of open up that. So that'll be
I think they're doing
6 p.m.
Where you can submit some entries. I think at the courthouse, you can go in and do some video things. So anything that you'd like to give or provide for that exhibit would be greatly appreciated. And I know we're all looking forward to a great year with the coaches here with us tonight.
They're going to do a great job at TR Miller, Miller Athletics, Miller Extracurricular Activities, along with our band director looking up, and great things ahead for TR Miller. And that's the bottom line here tonight.
The Bottom Line was brought to you by Bossman Productions. The views expressed by Colin Guest or in-studio guests are not necessarily those of The Bottom Line, the host, Bossman Productions, other advertisers, or any affiliate of The Bottom Line. The Bottom Line is for entertainment purposes only.